Bound by shadows. Characters: Eva, a determined and free-spirited artist. Seraphine, the mysterious, captivating daughter of a demon lord. Lilith, Seraphine's sharp-witted and overprotective older sister. Thorn, Seraphine's father, the formidable demon lord. A soft glow filtered through the curtains as the dawn broke, casting warm golden rays over the bed. Eva stirred, her limbs entangled in the mess of sheets. She blinked slowly, her eyes adjusting to the light. The familiar, soft warmth pressed against her side made her smile before she remembered Seraphine. Carefully, Eva tried to slide out of bed, attempting not to wake the girl sleeping beside her. But the moment she moved, a low murmur caught her attention. Seraphine, with her dark, flowing hair and ethereal beauty, shifted, her hand instinctively gripping Eva's waist. "Sneaking off without saying goodbye?" Seraphine whispered, her voice still husky with sleep. Eva chuckled, leaning back into the warmth of her touch. "I didn't want to wake you. You look so peaceful," she replied, brushing a strand of Seraphine's hair from her face. Seraphine's emerald eyes gleamed in the dim morning light as she tugged Eva closer, pulling her into a soft kiss. "Too late," Seraphine teased. "Now that I'm awake, I demand breakfast." Laughing, Eva gently pried herself free and stretched. "All right, but you need to help. You nearly burnt down my kitchen last time." Seraphine smirked, her eyes dancing with amusement. "I'll let you handle the cooking. I'll just watch and offer moral support." With that, she flopped back onto the bed with a dramatic sigh. Rolling her eyes, Eva grabbed a loose t-shirt from the floor, pulling it over her head as she headed for the door. "Make yourself useful at least," she called over her shoulder. "Go shower while I start breakfast." As Eva made her way downstairs, she reflected on the strange but captivating relationship she had with Seraphine. It hadn't been long since Seraphine entered her life, and even less time since Eva discovered who, or what, she really was. Seraphine wasn't just any girl. She was the daughter of a demon lord, and dating her came with far more challenges than Eva had anticipated. Reaching the kitchen, Eva began laying out the ingredients for pancakes, her mind wandering back to their first meeting. Seraphine had arrived at Eva's art gallery, quiet yet commanding, her presence impossible to ignore. It wasn't long before they fell into an intense relationship, but things escalated quickly when Seraphine revealed her demonic heritage. Eva had found herself drawn to Seraphine's world, despite the danger and the shadows that came with it. As the scent of sizzling pancakes filled the kitchen, Eva heard the unmistakable sound of Seraphine padding softly down the stairs. Turning to glance at her, Eva smiled as she saw Seraphine standing at the doorway, freshly showered, with an amused look on her face. "You're not trying to burn the pancakes again, are you?" Seraphine teased, leaning against the doorframe. Eva shot her a playful glare. "That was one time." Seraphine crossed the room and wrapped her arms around Eva from behind, resting her chin on Eva's shoulder. "I love that you're trying so hard to keep things normal, even with everything that's happened. Makes me wonder why you're not running away." Eva paused, turning off the stove. She placed the spatula down and faced Seraphine, locking eyes with her. "Because I'm not afraid of what you are. I love you, not just the parts that are easy to love." She traced her fingers gently down Seraphine's jawline. "We'll figure it out together." Seraphine's gaze softened, but there was a flicker of worry behind her smile. "You haven't met my father yet," she whispered. Eva winced. That part of Seraphine's world she had yet to face, the infamous demon Lord Thorn. His reputation was one of cruelty, and she knew that dating his daughter would not be easy. "Seraphine," Eva began, pulling her closer. "I'm ready for whatever comes, even your father." Seraphine laughed, but there was a nervous edge to it. "He's not the easiest to please. And then there's Lilith." Eva raised an eyebrow. "Lilith?" "My sister," Seraphine explained. "She's Well, let's just say she doesn't approve of me dating humans. She'll be protective. Eva sighed, realizing just how much she still didn't know about the depths of Seraphine's world. But she had come this far. There was no turning back now. Later that night, the two found themselves driving to the edge of the city, where Seraphine's father resided in an old Gothic manor tucked deep within the dark forest. The manor was ominous, its towering spires looming against the cloudy sky. Seraphine gripped Eva's hand tightly as they approached the entrance, her usual confidence seeming to waver. "You ready?" Eva asked, trying to sound more confident than she felt. Seraphine nodded, but before she could answer, the large doors creaked open, revealing Lilith standing in the entryway. Her sharp violet eyes fixed on Eva, assessing her with a cold stare. "So this is the human you've been hiding," Lilith said, her voice dripping with disdain. "Be nice, Lilith," Seraphine shot back, stepping protectively in front of Eva. "We're here to see Father." Lilith's gaze flickered to Seraphine, and her lips curled into a smirk. "Good luck with that." Inside the manor, the air was thick with shadows, and the atmosphere was tense. As they stepped into Thorn's grand throne room, Eva's heart raced. Thorn was there, his towering figure cloaked in darkness, his eyes gleaming with ancient power. "You brought a human into my home," Thorn's voice rumbled, each word carrying an undeniable weight. Eva stood her ground, despite the fear creeping up her spine. "I love your daughter, sir, and I'll do whatever it takes to prove that." Thorn's eyes narrowed, and for a moment, Eva thought she saw a flicker of curiosity. "We shall see," he said, his voice low and dangerous. "But know this, if you ever hurt her, there will be nowhere you can hide from me." Seraphine squeezed Eva's hand, her emerald eyes reflecting a mixture of relief and gratitude. Together, they faced the daunting shadows of Seraphine's world, knowing that their love would be tested time and time again. But Eva knew one thing for certain. No matter what demons they faced, she would stand by Seraphine's side, bound by love, and ready to brave the darkness together. Eva stood tall before the demon lord, her heart thudding against her ribs. Thorn's words echoed in her mind. "If you ever hurt her, there will be nowhere you can hide from me." She swallowed hard, feeling the weight of his threat. Seraphine's hand remained firmly in hers, but the room's heavy, oppressive air pressed down on her like a vice. "Let's go," Seraphine whispered, tugging at Eva's hand. Her voice was steady, but the tension was palpable. Eva nodded, eager to leave the suffocating throne room. As they turned to walk away, Thorn's voice boomed again. "Seraphine, a word before you go." Seraphine froze, her hand slipping from Eva's as she glanced back at her father. "I'll be right there," she whispered, her emerald eyes softening. "Wait for me outside." Eva hesitated but nodded. She left the grand, eerie hall, stepping into the corridor. The flickering torches cast dancing shadows along the stone walls, and a chill crept up her spine as she walked toward the entrance. Every creak of the floor beneath her feet made the hairs on the back of her neck stand on end. Something about this place felt wrong. She pushed open the heavy doors and stepped out into the misty forest air, breathing a sigh of relief. The night was silent, too silent. No crickets, no wind, just an unsettling stillness that seemed to swallow all sound. Minutes passed. The cold seeped into her bones as she stood there, waiting. Eva glanced over her shoulder, wondering why Seraphine hadn't returned yet. The weight of the silence began to crush her, making her feel isolated, as though she was being watched. Finally, the doors creaked open behind her, and Eva spun around. But it wasn't Seraphine. Lilith stepped out, her sharp violet eyes glinting with something cruel, something ancient. "Leaving so soon?" Lilith asked, her voice smooth and cold. Eva tensed. "I'm waiting for Seraphine." Lilith's lips curled into a wicked smile. "Of course you are." There was something in her tone, a dark amusement that sent a chill down Eva's spine. She felt the urge to run, to get away from this place, from her. But she held her ground. Is she coming? Lilith stepped closer, her eyes never leaving Eva's. You really think you belong here, don't you? That you can just waltz into our world and take Seraphine with you? I love her, Eva replied, her voice firmer than she felt. Lilith chuckled, the sound echoing unnervingly through the empty forest. You humans. So fragile. So naive. Before Eva could respond, a sudden rustle from the trees caught her attention. She turned, her breath catching in her throat as a dark figure emerged from the shadows. It was Seraphine, but something was different. Her skin, usually glowing with warmth, had turned a sickly pale, and her emerald eyes, once full of life, were now dull, shadowed by something sinister. Seraphine, Eva called out, her voice shaking. Are you okay? Seraphine stepped forward, but there was something unnatural about the way she moved. Her head tilted slightly, her lips parted in a strange, unsettling smile. Eva, she whispered, her voice hollow. I told you. My world isn't safe for you. Eva's heart raced, confusion flooding her mind. What's going on? Seraphine, talk to me. Lilith's cold laughter pierced the night. She's not the same anymore, human. Thorn wanted to make sure of that. He's claimed her. Eva's blood ran cold. What are you talking about? Seraphine's hand lifted, her fingers brushing Eva's cheek, but her touch was ice cold. I can't protect you now, Eva, Seraphine murmured, her once soft voice twisted with sorrow. You shouldn't have come here. You shouldn't have stayed. Eva stumbled back, her mind racing. This wasn't the Seraphine she knew. Something was terribly wrong. We'll leave, Eva said desperately. We'll go far away from here. We'll figure it out, together like we always do. But Seraphine shook her head slowly. It's too late. He won't let me go. He won't let us go. Behind Seraphine, the shadows shifted, growing thicker, darker. Eva could feel them crawling toward her, wrapping around her ankles, pulling her deeper into the darkness. Panic surged in her chest. No, Eva whispered, her voice trembling. She grabbed Seraphine's hand, but it was ice cold, like touching stone. I'm not leaving without you. Seraphine's eyes flickered with something, pain, regret, but it was quickly swallowed by the darkness creeping over her. Run, Eva. Run and don't look back. But before Eva could even think of moving, something dark and violent lunged out from the shadows. It wrapped around Seraphine, pulling her away from Eva's grasp. Seraphine's form twisted, her once beautiful face contorting into something monstrous, something unrecognizable. Seraphine! Eva screamed, reaching out in vain as the shadows swallowed her whole. Lilith stood by, her eyes gleaming with cruel satisfaction. Welcome to our world, human. You never stood a chance. The forest, the manor, the very world around Eva darkened until all that remained was an eerie silence. A cold, suffocating void surrounded her as the final whisper of Seraphine's voice echoed in the air. I'm sorry. And then the darkness claimed her. Eva was never seen again.